world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Saturday Night Live event. It is the second one in a week. Yes, he is back. You know, my co-host has arrived. Everything is going to be great tonight. It's going to be fun. We're going to get into some interesting stuff tonight. But first, for the second time in a week, how are you doing, Coach?
Hey, I'm good. I'm very good. I appreciate it, Mike. I'm glad to be here. Seems like
Took us a little bit of a delay to get on, but
it seems like every day something happens that once again makes you think that where are we headed? Where can we go from here? And like I said, you would think 3 to 4 days has passed. There's not a lot of information, but there's a significant amount of information out there.
yeah, it just continues to grow and grow. Trying to think what else. I know tonight's WrestleMania, the Final Four, so you guys could just turn that down and watch it and listen to us and be all right. That's what you need to be doing, whatever. Last week it was 75 degrees on Saturday. Even been snowing this week and storms and
We had
everything.
snow 2 days this week. I was
That's
mowing
crazy.
a yard on. It was either I want to say it was either Tuesday or Wednesday, and next thing I know, it starts sleeting out of nowhere. I'm just like, goodness gracious!
Yeah,
So
it's wild to think.
that we're in the middle of April, or the beginning of April.
Beginning of April, and it's 75 to start, and then snowing by the end of the week.
Hopefully next week will be warm.
Hopefully it will be warm, yeah. This might be the year it snows all the way to June. Who knows, though? I mean, it's been wild. But talking about weird weather, I wanted to start with this, and I've actually got it figured out a little bit easier tonight than I did last week. And I shared it with Deborah, and I was going to share this Thursday night before we moved into tonight. So I know while Larry's on here, he's going to love to hear this. But we think it's bad here, which it is. It's bad in the United States. But I wanted to bring up a story in Toronto, Canada, where as of right now, there is a bill on the table that will tax the people when it rains. So, I mean, you think we've got it bad. Let's see if we can pull it up here. Right here it is. Toronto, let me pull it up. Here you go. Toronto planning to tax homeowner and businesses for rain. So, I mean,
So is this part of their climate change
part of
agenda?
but the worst part is Mr. Bezos himself is the man funding this.
Amazon guy.
So when you read up a little bit on it here, it talks about a new way to change homeowners and businesses for water usage and stormwater charges and different stuff. So they're going to start taxing them for rain. So when you think it's really really bad here, look at Canada. I mean they're taxing people there for raining. But then as I dug a little bit more into the rain tax, I found out that New York City, right here in the country itself, New York City, let's see if I can find it here. Local Law 97 in New York City taxes landlords for people breathing. Because when you breathe, it lets out the CO2 that warms up the atmosphere that causes global warming. And that's in New York City. So, I mean, so you
So
said, so when we're breathing here, I guess if it goes
I'm at a
through,
loss for words.
It's just so stupid.
Well, that's why I said tonight I'm going to try. And even when you need something looked up, I've got the other screen here. We're going to pull stuff up with sources, everything we need, and I've got a couple of different things also to share here that I've got websites for. That way, people, want to see this.
No, you're on global warming. Let's talk about global warming. Greenhouse gases getting trapped in the atmosphere. Basically, what happens is the sun emits its rays. They hit the earth. They warm up the earth's temperature. The earth is at a constant temperature of about 59 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not too hot, not too cold, as I call it, the Goldilocks effect, just right. Okay, so what happens is some of these rays of sunlight get bounced off of the earth, reflected back into outer space and lost. Others get trapped in the atmosphere. Contributing to that are greenhouse gases like nitrous oxide, which you get from such things as fertilizer, farming. So you talk about Europe right now. You got places like France, Paris, France, where the farmers have rioted and basically took a stand. They blocked interstates. They had blocked government access to buildings. They had basically took bales of hay and created roadblocks because they're taxing them to death in Europe. Same thing here in America. Farmers are being hit with more taxes because of carbon emissions and nitrous oxide. Okay, Bill Gates is big on methane. Methane comes from livestock. I call it animal farts. And
Well,
he
that's what they said. The cows and horses that are farting. I mean,
well, and here and
It's a
I
job I have
and
not applied for.
and basically Bill Gates stated that cow exhaust was more detrimental and dangerous than carbon monoxide. Well, I challenge him. I'll get in a garage with a cow and stay all night. I'll put you in a garage with a car running all night,
see which
and
one
let's
of you pass out.
see
Yeah.
which one of us walks out there the next morning. I'll guarantee you, it may not be a bright smell, but I'll be able to endure it for 24 hours, whereas he would not.
Matthew, would you not think that there used to be more cows and more buffalo, more animals that expel itself years ago than what there is now? There's probably less animals now than what there were, right?
I would say you're probably right. But here's my thing. I think a lot of that, and you got to add to that methane. The most abundant greenhouse gas is water vapor in the form of fog, mist, rain. That in itself contributes to gases being trapped, heating up the atmosphere. And they talk about as it heats up the atmosphere, the ice caps and the tundra and the Arctic melts. Well, water levels today they claim are higher than they were 100 years ago. Go online, pull up a picture of Plymouth Rock in 1620, and pull up a picture of Plymouth Rock today, and what you'll find is water levels are
Lower.
they're
What
the
year was
same.
it?
1620 Plymouth Rock, they're the same. So I don't know what their big craze is with this Green Deal, going green. We found that by moving to green and cleaner emissions, yeah, I'm all for the atmosphere and the air we breathing having a greater air quality and being safer. I'm all for that. But the sad part is they keep going on about all this being detrimental to our health, and that if we don't do something about climate change, and climate change is more important than other issues, that
There's the
okay,
1620, 1920, and the 2023.
okay,
All
look
in
at the
one.
water level. Okay, they've claimed that by the ice caps melting. Now, if the ice caps were to melt, water level would rise 230 feet, Mike.
Right.
And if water
And
level
there
rose,
wouldn't even be no rock there.
okay, if water level rose 230 feet, you're talking about every coastal town in the world would flood, and eventually the interior part of the United States would start to sink. We've not seen that. When I was growing up, and I guarantee you, if you grew up in the 70s, and I'm kind of telling my age here,
I never saw the 70s.
okay,
So I don't
they
know.
were talking about, they talked about, we're going to hit an ice age. That there's going to come a point where everything is just going to turn frigid, cold. We're going all facing oblivion simply because of the earth just freezing. Well, when that didn't show up, they switched it to global warming. And when that doesn't show up, what will they switch it to next? What? But in the process, the American taxpayers and the Canadian taxpayers and the world taxpayers are having to fit the bill for it. Okay,
So do you
they.
think it's just money laundering?
I think it's all about money. I think it's about money. Why? Because okay. When you talk about like the G7 summit and all these countries coming together with their political leaders that meet in various parts of the world, how do they get there?
Planes.
They get there on airplanes. Every one of them. Their airplanes land, and when they land, the president has an entourage of what we would call his limo service, the Beast, as well as his what we would call Secret Service agents and their vehicles. They're emitting carbon dioxide.
Matthew,
Carbon monoxide.
Since you're in the 70s, you remember that pop was sold in glass bottles that were returnable and recycled.
10
Right.
cents.
Right.
Yep.
So that was a big thing, is that you returned your glass bottles and then they were reused. I would say landfills are probably filled with these plastic bottles
That will
like
not
crazy.
decompose, will not
Right.
break down.
So if they're so concerned about the environment and stuff, wouldn't you think that would be if they were truly concerned about environment and not about money laundering? Would the plastic?
And I don't. Let me say this to answer your question. I don't think everybody is out for money. I think there are some people that are genuinely concerned about the quality of our air, the quality of our water, the quality of our soil. You know.
But this goes in landfill, so how's that not affecting the soil when it's not breaking down?
Well, federal regulation says, regulation with landfills say now that it's all dumped into a plastic, it's a liner. It's got a plastic liner. It's got sand. It's got leach lines in it. It's got drainage. It's got, and then you dump it. And then what happens is all the runoff runs into a leach line and basically is taken somewhere to various parts of the United States. And I don't know what they do with it. I worked and helped build landfills, so I understand a little bit about it. But what I'm telling you is, does that stuff break down? Some of it's not going to break down. Some of it will decompose. It will, but not all. And as a result of that, you're.
Well, I'm not a scientist or anything, but CO2 after it comes out after a little while cools. So when you're breathing air, yeah, it may be a little warm at first, but it cools down. So I don't know, a breathing tax.
Well,
I don't.
It's all about. I think,
like Miranda says here,
I don't want to use.
They're just calling it climate change to cover both warming and cooling.
Exactly right, and I think a lot of it is to scare people. I think a lot of it is fear mongering, and I don't mean this in a negative way because, like I said, I appreciate the fact that people are looking out for the quality of air with which we breathe. You talk about factories. You have to have production. They want to move away from coal. No matter how hard they want to move away from coal, there's not a sustainable replacement for it. I don't care because it's what keeps the lights on. Okay, you talk about
coal keeps the lights on.
You talk about things like we're trying to move to what we would call renewable energy sources. You've got these big turbines. Well, those turbines are powered by an engine which is propelled by oil and gas. So I mean, it's a double-edged sword. They can sit and say that it's cleaning the environment, but yet they are contributing to the problem. If they go to one of these summit meetings, every one of them are on planes. Every one of them are driving automobiles. They have
a lot of them have SUV caravans or
whatever. That's what you take the president. I know he's not going in one caravan. Right. There's probably a multitude of 10 to 12, if not more, to try to throw off somebody if they were trying to plan something.
Well, like right here on this article right here that I've got pulled up, historic crackdown on gas cars will ensure 2/3 of vehicles will be electric or hybrid by 2032 after Biden administration finalizes new rule. And that goes along with what you're talking about. They're also pushing these electric cars because gas-powered vehicles is supposedly, destroying.
Okay, but what about a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago when we had these snowstorms and it got frigid up in Chicago? People that had battery-powered cars, these lithium batteries, they were freezing up, couldn't get them to start. Okay. Also,
I think Michael mentioned in California, were they not asking people not to charge their cars during certain times because it was overpowering the grid, and that's just a limited.
And that's just a few people here and there that's got those.
Yeah.
Well, those cars you're talking about possibly transitioning to a Tesla. A Tesla's not cheap right now. You're looking probably $75,000-$80,000, but they're looking at it over a 10-year time and saying, well, you're not going to be out those gas prices, and gas right now is on the rise. I'm talking. There's potential for gas to be as high as $5 by the summer.
Have electric charging pumps, and you will have to pay for that.
Well, right now they don't have enough electric charging stations.
But you will eventually have to pay for that.
Oh, you are having to pay for it right now.
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
Not free.
You're just going to be able to drive, and you're going to save the expense of gas.
But you're going to have to pay it in some other form.
Nothing's free. Nothing's free.
Love is free. Love is free.
Things are free, okay?
Nothing's
It's
free.
just
Nothing's
eventually
government funded.
it comes out of these.
That's right.
You know,
You know,
Nothing's
you got a COVID stimulus check. It was free.
it was free
Oh no, we're paying
And-
for that.
until now. When you go buy that gallon of milk, loaf of bread, bag of chips,
That's the consequence of it.
You know.
Taxes.
you know, everything else. But while we're talking about
That's what we
everything,
call Bidenomics. Bidenomics.
Oh yeah.
so while we're on the topics of things being higher, let's go to another website. And the topic is 7 things the middle class won't be able to afford in the next 5 years.
Oh, this is sweet.
So now that I got you guys on here, let's go to scrolling. Number 1, extended family trips.
So you're saying pretty much vacations.
Vacations
It-
are done. Family trips,
Can't
especially
afford that. Can you
overseas.
believe it? Much less 5 years.
Well,
Right.
typically most people go on vacation during the summer months or the fall, and typically gas prices are at the highest during and around 4th of July and that weekend. So I told you, gas right now, most gas stations locally here is about $3.38, $3.40 a gallon.
It went up to $3.59, but it dropped back down after the first.
But there's
day.
potential. There's potential if things continue that it could, because I don't know if you all saw this or not, the Strategic Petroleum storage in the United States is at a all-time low. They have failed to restore it.
Well, we better
And
get
they
a hold of
are
Saudi Arabia. So,
Matthew, you can't possibly know what you're talking about. Biden is on this. You know he is.
all right. Number
Well,
2 that you're not going to be able
okay.
to afford is a new
The
car.
Biden administration has drained the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve, lowest level in 40 years. Lowest level in 40 years, according to LIPOW Oil Associates presidents. We can see oil prices spike between $30 and $40 per barrel over the next couple of months, which means that the price of gas by summer could be as high as $5 a gallon.
You ready to go to Stockyard tomorrow and buy some
Absolutely.
You gotta buy
Well,
some
you're
horses.
not buying a new car, which is number 2.
Right. Yeah.
Private school tuition,
Thank God I don't
home ownership, and real estate.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Let me add something to that.
We're paying for Egyptians'
Okay,
college,
okay.
so we can't pay for ours.
We're talking about Bidenomics. Okay. What is Bidenomics? It's about spending, it's about regulation, and it's about higher taxes. You have to agree right now. That's what we have experienced
Well, you
since
get stuck paying
2021.
taxes even
Okay,
in here.
But higher taxes. Let me give you an example. Biden inherited in 2021 6.5% growth rate. He inherited a 1.5% inflationary rate from coast to coast. He also inherited an economy where the wages were up and had record low unemployment. Now, what has happened since Biden has taken office with Biden economics? We've got an 18.6% increase in overall prices of all goods. 18.6% increase. You've got a 25% increase in food prices. Go to the store and try to buy what you originally bought and see what the price of those goods will cost you. Eggs, bacon, steak, everything is extremely at a higher rate. Give you an example. 40% increase in gas prices. It was roughly right around about in 2021 when he inherited the presidency, $1.89 per gallon. We have seen it as high as $4.50. Kind of fluctuates, goes back down, gets to a comfortable rate where you think you can afford it. Then all of a sudden, you go to a gas station, you get up one morning, the gas station have changed their prices by 10 to 15 cents. Bang. And you're just like, what caused this sudden change overnight? Because we're seeing it. You got a 20% increase in rent. It costs roughly right now $4,000 a month to rent a 3-bedroom apartment in New York. Rent locally here in Morgan County, you go back 1 or 2, 3 years ago, most people around here were paying on average $450 a month to $500. That's for a pretty nice place. Okay, now look at the price that they're paying. It's as high as $650 to $800 a month. That in itself has added an extra cost on people, especially older, elderly people that are on fixed income. I don't know how these people are making it. Okay, let me go further. 28.4% increase in electricity. Your electricity bill, you're seeing it do what? It go up, but it fluctuates. Sometimes you'll get an electric bill that'll be low, and you'll think, God Almighty, I could live with this. And the next thing you know, boom, it's a 400, 300, it's double or tripled.
Yeah, we're getting out of
Okay.
that time of the year. Thank goodness.
Okay, you got a 46% increase in credit card debt.
I agree. I believe that.
But
People are relying on them.
they're having to. They're having to rely on the plastic.
I was one of them.
Okay, give me another example. You got a 2% decrease in real wages. I just told you he inherited a presidency where wages were up. It's down 2% since this present administration has taken office. That means that the standard of living cost has went up, but wages have steadily declined. And they're looking at this desire to raise minimum wage to $15. Well, what I'm going to tell you is it sounds good.
That's all.
Hold up, it sounds great. I'm all for people making as much money as they can. The only problem is for every positive there is a negative.
When they raise it, everything will raise. Your Happy Meal at McDonald's.
Well,
What is it right now? Like 6
Well, the
cents?
McChicken's
Okay,
already
okay,
$1.59
okay.
or something.
It
Hold
will
up,
raise. People
hold
don't
up.
understand that.
I can tell you how things have changed. You can't go to Subway. When
Chicken.
Trump was in office, you could
No.
get a foot long for $5. Right now, it costs $6 to get 6
They
inches.
locked Jared up, and that ended the $5 foot long.
You get 6 inches for $6.
Hell, release that
Look
son
it
of a
up.
bitch. We need him back right now. I mean, hell, far.
I saw.
Two people go to Subway and get 2 sandwiches, $26 or something. I mean,
I saw
it's
a
crazy.
guy who was
Motherfucker,
like,
go get a steak.
I mean, you used to, and you guys will agree with this. You go to McDonald's, and McDonald's was economically affordable.
There's
It was.
a
It
dollar
wasn't.
menu. There
Okay.
isn't anymore.
Okay, you go there and you could get a reasonable
Can we talk about Taco
value
Bell?
meal for
89-cent
$6 and something. I didn't care to pay $6. Now go to McDonald's and get the same meal, and you're looking at probably $11-12.
Well, here's what you do. You got to download the McDonald's app and go to the deals section where you can buy one, get one free. It's a little cheaper.
I just had
But,
Raising Cane's yesterday. 3 little pieces of chicken and fries and a piece of bread. It was $9.
Yeah.
Now you can't get fast foods even so. But I saw a boy doing a video. He's in his 20s and he says, "I make 3 times what my mom and dad made back in their day." He said, "But we can't afford to live by ourselves." He said, "We have to have roommates in order to pay our bills and stuff." He was going through, and that's what I compare that to minimum wage. You raise it to $15, it sounds good, but
It ain't gonna help me.
Well, like
everybody's gonna pay
Miranda
more.
says right here, Walmart, McDonald's, etc., would raise prices to make up for having to pay out the
Okay,
$15.
talk about oil. Okay, look this up and see if I'm right. Exxon, Shell, and what's the other one? Exxon, Shell, and another Exxon, Shell, and there's another
No.
oil company that made $85 billion last year. $85 billion. So when you want to talk
You
about
need to
oil
connect
prices,
to this.
you need to start
You
right
can look it
there.
up.
So you're talking about Exxon, is Exxon, Shell, and maybe BP, British Petroleum. I want to say it's what it was. Probably $85 billion oil companies made last year. And then you want to talk about oil prices. Are they complaining? They know that we're totally dependent on it. They know we have to have it to get to and from. Therefore, the price fluctuates. We have to have it. We're so dependent on it.
That's a lot with a lot of utilities and stuff like that. We're in a place where you can't really say I don't want it because you put yourself in a position where you rely on it. But I'm just going to say this: if it goes to $15 an hour, we're all buying Scott tissue from here on out. And
No,
that's
we're
all.
not. We'll use leaves from the woods.
Figs.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So here we go. Back to the 7 things you're not going to be able to afford. I don't know. Healthcare cost, leisure and travel and retirement, and safe investments for retirees. You're not going to be able to do any of that.
So
Give you this.
healthcare is another thing that went up because if you remember, and Melissa can testify to this, that when Trump went in, diabetic medicine went down to like an all-time low. Like people could afford it, and I had people in here who actually were customers and parents that were almost in tears talking about how much their medicine was costing for their kid.
We're
Not
paying-
believing
we're-
if someone
We're
outside
paying
of them,
$100 every time he gets insulin now.
how much it was costing him, and they started crying because they said, we can afford it because we'll make accommodations to make sure our kid gets medicine. We'll do without something to make
But
sure.
I saw a post the other day where someone on a Biden thing asked, which we've asked for 3 years and still ain't never got it. But someone asked the other day, what has he done in the time
I
he's
wish
been there?
someone would answer that.
One of the things they said was it's the lowest insulin cost that we've ever seen in the
Bullshit.
history. And I'm like, I know better than that because I know people right
Did
now
they
that are
just
paying triple compared to what they were
Did
paying.
they
Just,
just recently get put on insulin? Because that's not true. Because Trump lowered that medicine. All medication right now is just ridiculous. I mean, like everything's.
I saw this online. It costs a family of four $11,000 more a year to buy the same amount of groceries and basics today than it did 18
I
months
believe
ago.
that.
11,000.
Full-heartedly.
And you
Go
could, and
Kroger's.
people think, okay, a lot of people will say $11,000 is not a lot of money. I think $11,000 is a great deal of money.
When you're
Yeah,
making
that's for sure.
30,000,
Yeah,
11,000 is a lot. When you're making 25,000, 11,000 is a lot. We live in a poor section where we don't make those big, huge salaries and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know how people don't think that's a lot of money. Used to, I could fill my buggy at Kroger's. Me and Michael go fill buggy at Kroger's. It was nothing.
Used to Walmart.
$100.
The groceries part of Walmart you can afford, but heck, it's went up a lot too.
You put 3 bags in your cart and you're at $100.
The Wall Street Journal did a recent poll among swing state voters. And the question they addressed to the swing state voters was, how would you rate the strength of the U.S. economy? Excellent or good, or not so good and poor?
Poor.
36% of the people that were polled said that they would rate the strength of the U.S. economy as excellent or
Oh
good.
my goodness, those 36%.
63% said not so good and poor. Ask people that are struggling, middle class people are, the middle class bears the burden of paying the majority of the taxes for this
Exactly
country,
right.
and they bear the burden of doing the brunt of the labor
That's right.
for most of the businesses in this country. They are the ones that are being hit the hardest, but yet the fruits of their labors are not being reflected with their families. You know, like you said, you can't go on vacation anymore. You're not going to be able to afford to buy an automobile. Look at the price of automobiles. You know, I remember when you went to look for an automobile, and when you paid $17,000 to $20,000, you thought, man, that was a lot of money.
Can we talk about interest rates though for those automobiles? The prices went up, but like I bought my Kia in 2019, got a 5% interest rate. My payment was $315. That's very affordable. Just hit a deer and totaled it. I'm asking people what their interest rates have been in the last little bit on car loans. They're telling me between 11 and 14%. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
You were talking about people, with food. I've got a really good example. On the second and fourth Fridays of every month, go to 205 at the Hazel Green Food Project and look at that line of people who are lined up over there to get a couple of boxes of food that's going to, help them until the very
Same thing
2
here.
weeks.
Same thing here in town.
I went over there and worked it a month or so ago. You can find that video on YouTube. But I mean, and I got to talk to some of the people in the line. Some people had been sitting there since 5:30 in the morning, and it was like at 10 or 10:30 that morning. It hadn't even started yet, and they're there just to get, whatever they're giving out for that day.
And one of them was the very first one we talked to was an elderly woman, and she was, she just couldn't. The best she was going to do on food stamps was she's going to get $40 a month. Well, $40 won't buy you nothing at the grocery store right now. I'll tell you that. And so that she had to rely on them in order to make it.
Well, you've got
fixed income. She's an example of someone who's on a fixed income.
That's what I told you. These people that are on a fixed income.
No,
I don't see how they're
not even. Well, we talked to a gentleman, like I said, I should have brought the video and put it up here where you can see a little bit. But I talked to a gentleman over there that said if it wasn't for that food project, that he would only be able to eat one time. Was it one time every 3 days?
Once every 3 days.
Once every 3 days if it wasn't for the food project. But where they allow him, he comes there and volunteers, but he also picks, gets to pick up the food and stuff like the rest of the people do. He now gets to eat 1 meal a day. But he would go hungry if it wasn't for the food project.
Well, I noticed this week we were off on spring break, And I came in town a couple of days, and the West Liberty Christian Church has their food pantry. And look at the amount of cars that are lined up to try to get opportunity to have more to provide for their families. Right now,
So
right,
when you raise that minimum wage to $15 an hour,
That line's gonna grow.
that line's gonna grow because you've just brought poverty level up to middle class. That's what's gonna happen.
well, if you
Middle-class
pay me, if I start working for you tomorrow, and they require $15 an hour, you got to pay me $15 an hour. Every product you've got in this store is going to go up, which
Everything.
means the consumer is going to be hit harder at the cash register.
Right.
And you got to make your money. You're trying to make a living. And the thing is, you got to raise your prices because the people that are distributing it to you they're going to raise their prices. And it seems like every time we turn around, we have something catastrophic happen in this country, whether it's a train derailment, a shipwreck, hitting a bridge that affects.
Okay, how are we responsible for paying for that building of the bridge? Does the ship not have insurance? How are taxpayers responsible for that?
Because the president of the United States said you would pay for it. That's why you will pay for it, because he said you'd pay for it. But what I'm like you, if I hit your car out here, okay,
that one's probably paid for.
Okay, but if I hit your car,
hit mine.
Okay,
so.
If I hit your car and I damage it, I'm liable for the damages that I've incurred.
Right,
so if I've got
that's
right. But now I've got a deductible that I'll probably have to meet in order to get my vehicle fixed. But it should pay for yours. But I don't know. I couldn't believe the comments that he stated that day, which was, "You, the American taxpayers, will fund this bridge." Well, you look at it. We spend a lot of money in this country, a lot of money, frivolously, on things that should not be spent on. And as a result of that,
Matthew, the most of it goes overseas.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because if you want to go there, we'll go there.
Let's just do it.
Okay, let's go there. Let's talk about
Have we got any videos about that?
Okay. Listen, the government always says, I put this quote down. The government always says there's no money for our schools.
Our roads.
There's no money for the homeless. There is no money for the veterans that have served this country.
Which is pure bullshit.
Okay. So if there is no money,
uncensored,
for those three particular areas, then how is there money for Ukraine? How is there money for illegal aliens? How is there money for Israel? Let me give you this. Okay. Since 1949, now listen to this. Since 1949, the U.S. has given Israel a total of $83,205 billion since 1949.
Who's given that?
The United States has.
Then why did you hang that flag? Why did you hang that flag up there?
Now, I'm not saying that we should not help the people of Israel. I'm not saying that. But we have given them 83
Do you know how much we
trillion.
got back?
Hold on a second. $205 billion since 1949. Now listen to this. The interest cost borne by U.S. taxpayers on behalf of Israel alone are $49,937 billion, thus making the total amount of aid given to Israel since 1949 $133,132 billion. The U.S. government has given more federal aid to the average Israeli citizen in a given year than it has given to the average American citizen each year. That right there tells you, and that's just Israel alone. Okay, let's talk about the $100 billion that we have appropriated for Ukraine. Okay, has there been any oversight of any of that money being spent? Okay, I sent you a picture of ships.
We have to account for every dollar.
Yeah. Okay, good. This is a picture of two yachts that Vladimir Zelensky just recently purchased. And the names of those, I think, are on there. Am I correct? Is it on the picture?
I don't see them.
Okay, I thought they were on there. One's called Lucky Me.
Well, I guarantee it is. I guarantee.
You're talking about trillions of dollars that were spent on these two yachts. Well,
And these are
okay,
Zelensky.
hold up.
Well,
These are
yeah, right here.
okay, yeah.
Lucky
Me and My Legacy.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
I see 'em
he
there.
just recently purchased these. Okay,
Who
who?
did?
Vladimir Zelensky.
Oh, well.
Okay, my question is, who's fitting the bill for this? That's
Hang on a second, I'll show you.
okay. Hold up a second. Okay. Okay, now look this up. Just announced this past week that Vladimir Zelensky, your favorite admirable dancer, just purchased the former estate of King Charles III in England. And he gave 21, hold on a second here. I'm not $21.7 million for what is called the Highgrove House in England. He just purchased that. How is he affording this? He's come to America, and the only thing that the man wears is
The green sweater.
the green sweater and jogging pants.
And
He
not,
can't afford it. His country is
not to mention his country supposedly in war, like basically getting blew all to hell on a
just
weekly
purchased
basis.
a home for $21.7
But where's that boat at? You've got these ships that you're affording. You've got. We'll pull up this video here in just a second. I don't know if that's part of that what you're talking about or not.
No.
But we'll get to that shortly.
Yes, that is. That video. Oh, pull that video up. Show them that video.
Here you go.
This video will show you. These are homes that were purchased by Canadian officials. The fugitive names is late. They're living life. It's like a war-torn society to you.
Infuriates me because one, why should they not be held accountable if we're giving them money? I'm gonna tell you this: I love my kids dearly, but if I give them $100 and I hear they're out running around and they're not using it,
There's not one home in this video that's airing right now that has a missile in the front yard, blew all to hell, on fire.
Okay, let me read this to you.
infuriated.
Rand Paul said this. Rand Paul, U.S. Senator Rand Paul, said it is impossible to send this much aid this fast into a war-torn Ukraine without waste, fraud, and abuse. Yet we are told by department inspector generals that they have not substantiated any cases of fraud. That is not good news. 0 cases means our oversight is failing. Okay, let me say this. Do you know that 5 Ukrainian officials were arrested for the theft of $40 million in war funds? Look it up, see if I'm right. What I'm telling you
You've got a
is,
device up in front
okay,
of you.
what I'm telling you is our
I'll have to
oversight,
call your favorite
our
customer.
oversight is not doing what it needs to be doing. How can we
There is no
guarantee?
oversight.
Okay,
Is
how
there?
can we
I'm
guarantee
looking.
that this money that we are sending over there graciously to try to help these people is being spent purposefully? Okay. I guarantee you every dime you spend is accounted for, because who double checks it?
IRS.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying is I don't think it's right. I don't know why we as taxpayers continue to do this. And when we're asked, I'm to the point that they want everything digital. So
Well, let me give you something
if
else.
we sell something used, they want to know what kind
Okay,
of
let me add something else to this. The United States Navy overspent $400 million in aid to Ukraine, then manually changed records to fix the appearance of misappropriated funds. So I'm telling you, we're sending taxpayers' hard-earned dollars. Listen, I'm all for people having the opportunity to have democracy, having the opportunity to have rights, have a government that gives them choices. I'm all for that, because You'll never hear me say that America's government is not the best in the world. Democracy is great because we have choices. We have the right to choose what we want to do. We have the right to choose what doctor we go to. We have the right to choose where we want to live, what occupation we desire to go. If we want to get an education at a higher level, or if we don't, if we want to become a productive member of working society, or we choose not to, we have that right. But
we don't neglect our own in order to pay for others.
okay, but that's what's happening right now.
Right.
Is Americans.
Not neglect. They just
Okay,
Americans.
we've went from, and like I said, I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but
I will. Tell me what you want to say.
At what point do we start putting Americans first? Because
They have
okay,
to
we
be,
went
man.
okay. You talk about presidents, you can name them down the list. It seemed like
We
it
go
was
under-
harder and harder to get ahead, and now all of a sudden we get a president who initiates America First policies. People have a lot of money, and I know people didn't like Trump. I don't have a problem with that. I realize that Trump's mouth got him in trouble.
But you weren't broke.
But you wasn't broke.
Well, like I mentioned Jim Foster, that's on here with us all the time. He, for the last 2 years, has put Trump down, said it cost him everything. All this, he's not really a Trump guy. But the last 2 shows we've done with him, he has said, I don't like him. But I can't wait till he's reelected because I like having that money in my pockets.
More money in my pocket.
Well, as you said, the things that the middle class family will not be able to do if Trump is reinstated, these policies are reinstituted, we can get things corrected. And it could be corrected right now if they would have just came in and left a lot of those policies in place.
Whether
You know,
like Trump or not, like him putting tariffs on China because China,
okay,
China
how is China getting by?
right?
Okay, I'm telling you, I can tell you how China's getting by. Okay, this is what people don't realize. This is how China's getting by. China has a great relationship with Mexico. Okay, so China has come into Mexico and built an enormous amount of factories there. Okay, they're producing economic goods to bring to the United States.
That's how the Chinese are getting across that border.
But here's the thing. The United States, Canada, and Mexico have an agreement called the North American Free Trade Act, NAFTA, which says that if we send goods to Canada, we don't have to pay an excise tax on it. We don't pay a tariff. So if Mexico makes those products for China and they ship them to the United States, they don't and that's how China's getting us. That's exactly what they're doing, and that's why we're seeing a large
Trump
number.
wouldn't have allowed that because when he got in,
No, he wouldn't have allowed that because you're a businessman. Your main priority is to make profits. Business, free enterprise, driven by the desire to make money. To make money, you have to spend money, and spending money means you create a better mousetrap. You make things better. Yes, I'm not saying that we're not dependent upon foreign countries for electronic products. We are, but if they have to pay a tax to sell them over here, we benefit from it from a perspective of it may not go in our pockets, but it helps with road improvement, it helps government projects, big bridges, all that. We benefit.
But I think one thing U.S. does is they regulate their businesses to a point that we can't build those products here because our regulations are so stiff on American businesses, but we'll allow China to send their crap here that they didn't have the same regulations to. By the way, I looked at it. Ukraine says corrupt officials stole $40 million meant to buy war defense. You're correct.
4 years.
So
what else is there to say at this
right
point?
Here, it's AP News, so if you want to look it up, if people want to look
What
it up.
is it? LEX
Fox
18?
News has it on there too. Let's see.
Fox
CNN,
News?
probably not.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yep.
well, you're sending somebody.
Recording
Okay.
it,
If I send you an enormous amount of money,
I
and
wish
I don't
you
do
would.
okay. Well, I will eventually. But my thing is this:
After tonight, and I get the Powerball,
if I
I'll
send
you some money.
if I send you a lot of money, Mike, and I don't do any type of accountability of how it's spent, you can launder it. Defense budgets, and this is nothing against our Defense Department because they protect us, they keep us safe at that. But they have billion-dollar budgets, a couple of million here or there. Let's say you give $300 billion for defense. Right now, I want to say we spend $849.6 billion on defense in this country. That was the budget for the Department of Defense this past year. That includes salaries for military officers, personnel. That includes upgrade of our military equipment and expenditures. We've got a lot of expenditures. $849.6 billion. Okay, that's the highest executive department budget in the United States. A couple million here or there, nobody's going to what?
They're not paying attention.
Not going to pay
But I
attention to it.
have a question for you. So you're giving Michael money, right?
I hope so.
So you give him, let's say he says he needs it and he's in desperate need for money, and you give him $1,000 this week. Then he comes back next week and he says he needs $2,000 more because he's still in desperate need for it, and you give him $2,000. And then the next week he comes back and he says he needs $3,000. At some point in time, are you going to ask him, hey, I don't care to give you this money, I care to help you out,
but what
are you doing with it?
Yeah.
But not us. We just keep writing the checks. I mean, I'm telling you, I love my kids more than anything. But if they kept coming to me every week asking me for money, I'd be like, hey, what are you doing with it? Let's sit down here and talk about your budget.
So oversight, according to Rand Paul, is failing. We've got to do accountability.
They can't be. He's blowing through it. Not only that, he lost an FTX. And Sam, whatever his name was.
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Fried.
Got 25 years in prison, which if me or you would have done that, we would have got 100 years in prison.
Yeah, we'd have been
higher on the hog, and
we'd have been locked
supposedly
away
in a devastated war zone, and they've got mansions and yachts and everything else, while the rest of us are scrambling to buy eggs at the grocery store.
I'm not. I've got my own eggs at the house.
Well, I've got eggs at the house too, but
my eggs are out in the lot.
Hold up. I'm glad you said that because I put this on there. You're going to see an even greater increase in the price of eggs in the next couple of months.
Oh, I guarantee it.
I'm going to tell you, anybody know why?
But yeah, because that eggplant burnt down.
Okay. Bird flu.
And all the stuff
largest
burning.
U.S. egg producer halts production in Texas after bird flu found in chickens.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, here it says about 1.6 million laying hens and 337,000 pullets were culled. 3.6% of its total flock. All producers must, from this point out, practice heightened biosecurity measures. So what you're going to see is an increase in the price.
You better be going to Rural King and getting your chicks, is what he's saying.
Or you go to your buddy Mike and buy eggs
and buy some eggs, and then I can pay the taxes out there, baby. So
also the bridge that went down, isn't it some way of them bringing in
25% of the United States coal production exported comes out of that port.
So that's going to affect prices as well.
Guess what kind
Hold
of
up!
prices?
You've got a harbor full of ships that are loaded down that can't get their goods out because there's.
Why can they not take it into another harbor?
They're letting smaller ships that can get through there, but these big ones can't get through there.
Get out. That bridge is
completely across the channel there.
Oh, they're like inside.
Maybe me and you can go
they've
next week and
they've
help
got
them
a tunnel.
move it.
They've got a tunnel that you can drive in, but it has restrictions with height. So a lot of 18-wheelers can't get in there, and also has restrictions with regards to.
Should our president not be concentrating on how to?
He was there today. He was there today.
He was there.
Instead of being focused on Ukraine, we have our own crisis. Should we not be worried about trying to funnel those into another harbor, getting those goods out to people? And
well, just like in California, was it last year when they couldn't get the ships to come in because of everything going on there?
Newsom put some kind of restriction on older vehicles, so they couldn't. But
and we had the supply shortage, so that's where we're at right now with this. I mean, eventually there's going to be a shortage on this stuff because, and you're talking about it being a coal producer. Supposedly, coal is still what's helping make oil and gas. So, guess what's going to go up with it? Larry says, "Guess who made those cranes that are unloading the ships?"
China, probably. They make everything.
So I mean, it's I don't know.
So what are you trying to say?
Everything's fixing to go up again. Gas prices, like a minute ago, coal keeps the lights on. Well, if coal can't keep the lights on because they can't move the coal, there's your electric bills or whatever type of bill you got. Gas prices, which they did, they went up 30 cents here just this week alone, but then they dropped back down. So I don't know what happened there. I guess they had a change of heart overnight.
Well, and then the uncertainty with what's going to happen Monday. I mean, listen, I have never in my life seen so many people taking necessary precautions. They've got a lot of people in this country scared about
They've
this.
never called off school for something like
I mean,
that.
they've got people scared to death over this eclipse.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with this right here. And you announced this on our show here last Saturday night. Let me pull this up here. And this is on NASA's website. Right here you go. So everybody that thinks he's crazy and makes stuff up, here you go. NASA to launch sounding rockets into moon shadow during the solar eclipse. And there are going to be 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Does it say on here? But
That's some stupid people.
I mean, why? We had an eclipse. Right here you go.
We had an eclipse in 2017. I
They
think
did-
they did the same thing.
Right here. 45 minutes before, during, and then 45 minutes after. So they're going to release 3 different missiles into this thing. And, well, they're calling them rockets here, but, missile, whatever. But, I mean, what you're asking yourself is why? Because the eclipse in 2017, they never done this. So what's the purpose of it now to do this? So, I mean, like Matthew's saying, they've got a lot of people scared to death. I mean, a lot of people's running around saying, we don't know if the world's going to end. We don't know if there's going to be terrorist attacks because there has been threats, on that too. We don't know if, what's going to happen. I mean, there's been a lot of earthquakes this week. We had an earthquake in Taiwan. And then New York City just yesterday, or, New Jersey.
You had one in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
75 miles to the north in New York City, you had the media has reported it as 2 different separate events, 2 different earthquakes. I asked somebody yesterday, is New York and New Jersey on a fault line? And I don't believe they are. So,
Well, I heard
I'm trying to figure out what.
I heard them say something last night on a show that I was watching, that something about some kind of thing going up the coast. But now I'm like you. I mean, the new, what is it, Madrid or
New Madrid? New Madrid?
They did like Western Kentucky area out in there. I mean, I know that one.
Something about energy burst or something. That's what I saw something about.
I mean, I with the one with Taiwan, I'm not
It's just weird. There's places
all about that one, but the one in New Jersey, New York yesterday, I mean, it's not that hard to figure out.
The new modern day Babylon.
No, it's not hard to figure out.
Well, there was another one.
It's Godzilla.
I want to say there was
Godzilla's under the city. We know this. I mean, we've already seen the movie. We know where
I
he's
want to
at.
say there was another earthquake today in California. Am I not mistaken for that?
Well, I got this
Been a lot of
earthquake live earthquake thing. There was a few small ones in Kentucky last night.
And you've got people. I saw a lot of people putting online on different Facebook posts that we're living in biblical times, because it talks about there will be earthquakes, and it's got people scared to death.
Under attack.
Yeah, it's got
They
people.
are right now.
Got people scared.
No, I mean, yeah. What we got going here?
Wake up.
But we got this guy asking about the earthquake. I don't know what the heck. You sent it to me, so I don't know.
That's it.
It says here, asked about the impact of the Northeast earthquake.
I don't know. I may just send it.
Let's just see what he has to say.
Aid to Israel, Mr. President.
Pardon me?
Did you threaten to stop military aid to Israel?
I asked them to do what they're doing.
You think about Are you abandoning Israel?
Well, I mean, then you got Deborah on here before we go live supporting Israel here in the background, and then all we've learned about in this program is how Israel's like.
Yeah, I support God's people, but I think that everybody should be accountable for telling us how they're spending our money. That's what I think. I think it's ridiculous that we're again, we spent 20 years in Iraq. What did we get back from that? I mean, what did we accomplish with all that money we funded with them? And now it's Ukraine. It's just, and we neglect our own infrastructure, our own people, I just don't think that we should be neglecting our own to help everybody else. And I don't know what bank, what place allows you to keep borrowing money to give to other people. I just don't. There's no bank in town that you could go that I could go. I couldn't go see Jody down here at Bank of the Mountains and be like, "Hey, Jody, you give me this amount of loan. I'd like to help other people." And then I go back again a month later and say, "I need some more money because I'd like to help other people," and just keep accumulating debt when you don't have anything to write to cover it.
So you
What's
want
our collateral?
So you want to help people like Greta Thunberg, who got arrested today? You got the video. There she is getting carried away by police. I just thought this was funny, so I decided to put this. She gets slung on the bus, because she's huge in climate.
I want to help Greta. I'm sorry, but
Honey, that girl right there is worth trillions of dollars. And can't stick her finger in her nose. But is the sad part about it.
To me, giving money to her would be like giving it to Alexandria Cortez.
Oh, God.
I mean,
Yeah, but she needs it. Because she's got the funding, for the sun trip.
I think she's one of those that Matthew was talking about, really truly cares about the environment. She's just not very smart on figuring it out as to what needs to happen. I mean, honestly, like, you want to go take samples from the sun? Who? What? That's elementary stuff. You should be learning that.
Take samples from the sun.
I think I sent you a video this week, if I'm not
What
mistaken. Go up through. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Did I send you one of the vice president?
No, but if you got it, send it to me and we'll put it on here.
She was interviewed this week and was talking about how just 2 years ago the NCAA tournament for women started to go into bracket play. They've been playing bracket play for years.
Did you see where she went somewhere the other day and got off a plane or whatever and was standing there clapping and the crowd was protesting against her? And she's sitting there clapping like this, thought they were singing with her. But they was actually protesting against her. I said, you talk about genius. There's a new movie coming out this summer, and I think you should watch it. Here it is. It's called The Blair Mitch Project.
That would be the scariest movie out.
That movie right there will be the most terrifying thing that anybody's ever seen. Ever. The Blair Mitch Project. Let's see if I had that video somewhere the other day. But yeah, she's standing there clapping. And they were sitting there booing her and hollering at her, and she was clapping.
I should have sent that video to you. I didn't think. I thought I did. That they were interviewing her about the NCAA women's NCAA tournament. She said just 2 years ago they started bracket play, and I'm sitting there going, "What in the world are you talking about?" They've been doing bracket play since I was a young kid, both men and women. The NCAA tournament is set up for a certain number of teams to go to the tournament. Whether it be 32, 64, 68, the men's tournament's expanded to 68. A couple play-in games, and I'm just like, what in the world? That would have been a Title IX.
Speaking of that, Purdue 63, NC State 50 final. Purdue going to the national title game. And Alabama and UConn hasn't started yet. So Purdue is in.
I also want to mention this, Mike. We were basically labeled conspiracy theorists, and on this show we talked about at one time. I'm not sure if you remember this or not. I talked about how Ashley Biden had a diary.
Mm-hmm.
In that diary, she talked about how she was asked sometimes to take showers with her father, and that it led to what we would call a hypersexualized. She was hypersexualized at a young age, and everybody in America, the media, said that diary did not exist.
Well, just like the laptop.
Did not exist, and said that it wasn't real. Well, I want you to look this up. The Department of Justice demands prison time for Ashley Biden's diary theft. It was stolen. It was stolen. We talked about how it got stolen. The Department of Justice is demanding prison time for the thief that stole Ashley Biden's diary.
But how could he steal something that didn't exist?
Hey, once again, I told you, everybody basically said, you guys are conspiracy theorists. You're talking stuff that the media is saying it doesn't exist. It's not real. And you're saying that it is. There's no way I'm going to
It's in the
believe
New
you.
York Post.
What?
It's in the New York Post.
New York
Why
Post?
don't you send
Sure
that
is.
to me in Messenger? Send that link to me on Messenger if you can, and I'll pull it up
once
here.
again, so what I will look at you
Are
tell
you
you,
logged
Mike,
into Facebook on that computer?
what I will tell you, Mike, once again, we're batting.
Do it on
We're
your phone.
batting 100, baby. Everything that we keep saying keeps coming true.
Let me get this.
Send me that link in Messenger, and I'll pull it up here so everybody knows that Mr.
Hey,
Crazy
I'm pointing to you because
Mr. Crazy over
I
here.
haven't been on this program in almost 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
and everybody's pointing the finger at you.
Well, I guess we're all crazy until it happens, but
So I guess
So her name is Amy Harris.
that sounds right. Yeah, it was a woman. Yeah.
She was the thief. So the Department of Justice has basically substantiated that the diary existed, that the diary
after
was
they said
real.
it didn't.
After the media for months said that it did not exist. So I got a question for you. How can you believe anything that any of these media outlets say to you when
can't.
everything that we've told you has come to be?
You can't.
They are the biggest bunch. They
Well, I
feel the
was
biggest
told
bunch of
myself
hogwash.
that the Hunter Biden laptop wasn't real. And hell, I mean, they've got pictures off of it and all kinds of. I mean, they had trials about it. I don't know.
I'm sending it to you.
That's why I started calling us the conspiracy realist. Is because
So we're seeking the truth.
Because after so
Truth
long
seekers.
the truth seekers. After so long, looks like I've got something in Messenger here. Let's see what we got. I love being live on the air. Let's see what it takes us to. Oh my goodness, the New York Post. It has to be true if it's in the Post. There you go. But there was never no diary. But right there it is, right here in the Post.
So my question is this. If the diary contained entries that said that she took showers with her father, Joe Biden,
Why is he not being
prosecuted?
Amy
Well,
Harris.
hold up. I know why he's
Right
not
there
being
is Amy
prosecuted
Harris
because
right there,
Robert
yeah.
Hur suggested in his report that we not prosecute Joe Biden because
he has
he's
a poor memory,
mentally
and
incompetent or
forgetful.
incapable or
Well,
whatever.
he didn't really say memory, he just
Whatever
said
the hell they said it
poor
was.
memory and what was poor memory and elderly and couldn't forget.
Is this her here?
that is Ashley Biden. Yeah,
You
that's
know
the
that they
Biden,
actually sentenced one of the January 6th people, right? The
Grandma, was it the grandma?
Great
Yeah,
grandma.
gave her 1 year.
70-some years old.
Gave her 1 year in jail because she went into the Capitol building,
No,
made her way into the Capitol.
Was
Did
there
not
10 minutes.
okay. Did not blurt. Did not bust a window. Did not break a door. Went in and prayed and
She was
prayed.
in there for 10 minutes. And surveillance video, it says surveillance video backs her statement that she was in there for 10 minutes. And a jury found her guilty because a judge told them that they could not consider the First Amendment as a defense for her. Free speech. Freedom of religion.
You can call me conspiracy theorist, realist, asshole, whatever you want to call me. But if you're too incompetent to stand trial, you're too incompetent to run this country.
Yes, if your memory's too poor for trial and you're forgetful and stuff, you cannot be.
Well, you were talking about people that have changed their perspective on the Biden administration. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came out this week and in a speech stated that he regrets that he voted for Biden and that if Biden runs for president in 2024, he will not vote for him.
Well, I'm glad to see that he's come back over.
Well, that's because he's on WrestleMania tonight and tomorrow night.
But I don't know if, between me and you, I don't know if Joe Biden will be the Democratic nominee or not. I can see that as his memory continues to get worse, there comes a point where the party is going to have to say, he doesn't have a chance, and they'll have to.
Hell, if I'm the leader of the party, I'm trying to figure something out at this time.
May say, we gotta get a candidate that has a chance to win this.
But on the left, the left or the other side, they will argue that Trump isn't capable of running because he stands up there and he slurs his speech and he stands up there and forgets his lines and he stands. So Trump is so old that he shouldn't be. And I'm thinking to myself, most of the time he's acting stupid. You know, he's trying to play some kind of joke or something other. But if he makes one little mishap, oh, yep, he's crazy. You know, he's not healthy enough to do it. But you got old stumbling Joe up here falling on a flat surface. You know, forgetting his lines, don't know where he's at. I mean, it just don't make no sense how they can look at their candidate
Who
and
got
think
81 million votes?
that
Who
yeah,
got
the most popular
81
ever.
million votes and got more votes than any other candidate in the history of the United States. But yet, in this country right now, Donald Trump has been singled out multiple times. I'm not saying I'm not saying that he has done anything wrong. I'm just saying they've tried to indict him multiple times for numerous things. They're going after him. Why do they fear him if their candidate got 81 million votes?
Yeah, it's just hard
Why do they fear him?
to fathom.
I don't think it happened.
Huh?
I don't think it happened.
You were talking about the eclipse. I just noticed this picture you sent.
That is the best eclipse.
There's the there's the main eclipse right there. That's the eclipse that we need to be watching right there.
Be on the watch out for that. That's what you're seeing. That's what you're going to see.
That's
right
the one I want to see. That's the main eclipse of 2024 right there. That's the one we all want to see.
But there is a lot of concern with this eclipse coming up. I mean, some states has told people for months get water, get supplies. Why are they telling people
Well,
to
I
do that?
saw.
Are they expecting
We just
something
had
to
one
happen?
years
I
ago,
think you might have sent it to me earlier in the week. But Kentucky is one of many states that's declared state of emergency ahead of this. And I'm like, state of emergency? Hell, it's only 4 minutes long. You know, so it's like, what in the world? What's going to happen in the 4 minutes? And I don't even think we're going to be totally dark, are we?
I don't think it passes. Excuse me. Directly through the line I saw. I think it's just a little bit north of Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. Got a lot of school districts around here, Mike, that are going to school.
Our
I
district
think
actually
some
is.
school districts are going a half a day.
Most of them is.
Some have canceled for good. I mean, some
Yeah.
are canceled for the whole day.
Are we
So-
half a day?
We're till 11 or 11:30. I can't remember for sure, but we're only going for a little bit. But I mean, it just don't make no sense. I mean, this stuff didn't happen during the last eclipse. There wasn't all this uproar about it. So it's like I think that was 2 minutes. This one's 4.5. But I still can't figure out why. Like you said, telling people to go out and stock up on food. Get it. What was it? 5 days.
I think the state of Ohio,
5
one in
days,
particular, that is
Get
told.
5 days worth of water, 5 days worth of something. That's like, so. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, what do they expect?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're telling people to go out and get a week's worth of water, food, and supplies in preparation for something, that leads me to believe that there's an event that goes with it that could possibly lead to Is it power outages? Is it internet outages? Is it communication outages? I mean, there's a lot of factors that can go into. Is it electricity outages? I mean, what does it involve?
Yeah. Or what are these rockets or missiles, whatever they're calling them? They're going to be firing into this thing. What are they doing? I mean, are they going to knock something up, some kind of grid off, or I don't know. It's like they know something that a lot of people don't know, and that's why they're telling people ahead of time to do this. But we've only decided we need chicken feed before then.
We want to make sure the chickens keep.
Gotta keep those chickens fed, because if not, they'll end up like that in Texas, and then we won't have anything. Trust me, I lived on eggs for a while there, so I know you can live on eggs.
We have beans and rice too.
Yeah.
and then you have mom.
Right.
Who has everything.
What you got over there?
Oh, I was looking at something where John Fetterman, Senator Fetterman, one of your favorite senators, has
Yeah.
basically torn into cities over soft treatment of squatters. Squatters have no rights, according to him.
Well, now Florida's doing something with them. You have that, don't you, Michael? Remember they were saying, well, New York and all these other places are saying you have to file for eviction notice.
The sheriff's departments in New York or in Florida is telling people to
you come home.
You come home and they're there. Get rid of them one way or the other.
Shoot 'em.
But now David has a question here that I've seen.
Yeah.
How does it start in Texas and move to the Northeast? The sun moves from east to west. And I saw that the other day. Someone asked that, which is true. The sun comes up in the east and it sets in the west, but this is coming total opposite direction.
Let's hear Bitcoin King.
I don't have an answer to that.
I don't know either.
Things that make you go,
I have a perception of what I think would be, but I'm not 100% sure I'd be right, so I'm not going to say anything.
No, we don't need that. Another 2 years of someone saying, Matthew said it was this. But
if you remember,
it's a valid question.
It is a valid question. It's a very valid question. We've been taught from a young age that the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. So the sun is going to make a direct path from the southern portion of the United States to the northern part of the United States through the the interior.
Yeah, I know.
Have you seen the map of that, Mike? Have you seen a map of the trajectory that it makes and the exit it makes?
Let me see if I can get it up here. The X?
Yeah.
From both of them?
Yeah. The trajectory of that. Yeah, the X there. I'll
just any one of them?
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
Let's see if we can get this pulled up here. Oh, boy. What is going on here? Flipping computers. All right, here we go.
Get it on there. Look at that X, how that.
Well, like Dave's question says right here, it's starting down here. Can we move that bigger? Here we go. It starts down here, and it's going to come up this way and go way out over the northeast and then head east. So, I mean, that just don't make a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know. So if we get another one in like another 7 years, I don't know if they're supposed to be or not. Where's it going to do? Is it going to come like straight down through there? So go straight through the middle.
That's the path of the 2017.
This is the 17 here, yeah, that goes over this way, and this one here is the one that we're getting on Monday. But I mean, it just don't make no sense.
If you notice that picture, that X, I sent you a picture. See if you got the picture I sent you. Should be towards the bottom. You maybe not downloaded it. It's probably in here. It's probably in this thing.
Yeah, we'll find it. Let's pull it back up here. Let's see.
I thought it was kind of weird. I just made a general. There at the bottom, I sent you a picture. If you can blow, I don't know if you can blow that picture up or not.
Why isn't it letting me make it bigger?
I don't know. If you look at the trajectory of the picture that I see, it deals with an emblem of Space Force. And this,
see if I can save it to the computer, maybe.
And it looks like the same trajectory of 2017 and 2024.
See if I can save it.
So. Can you imagine being an older aged American and them telling you better get you enough food, water, and supplies. You're on.
Or you should see the grocery stores when they're just giving a snowstorm.
Oh no, I mean,
okay.
okay,
So imagine
okay.
5 days.
That's what I'm saying. People scared to death. They go on a
they
toilet
can't
paper.
afford to
They
get
go.
5 days
They go on a toilet paper run. Get all this toilet paper and
Yeah, I can't get it to pull up.
Well, they should have bought toilet paper from us last week. We had it real cheap.
Yeah, they won't want that shit. So.
You bought some.
Don't you start. Where'd you get the picture from? I'll see if I can find it somewhere on here.
it's just United States Space Command. It was a picture from Space Command. I don't know if it was on there or not. I just found the United States Space Command. It was like a emblem went on their arms.
There it is. Let's see.
It's got the trajectory of the United States, and that X is the same place. It was weird when I saw that. I thought it was weird.
There's what we was trying to pull up, but look where that X is. Ain't that just a little odd? That guy over there is a conspiracy theorist.
Hey, this guy sitting beside me, he's got it out there too. But
I mean, when you look at stuff like that, I mean, how do you not?
I'm not saying it.
How do you
I'm not
not,
saying it's
how do you-
anything.
How do you not question it? I mean, because it just looks, just like it. I mean, I don't know. People can argue and fight and scratch, but I guess until they can figure out a better way, until they can find out a better way to explain things to us, then there's no reason. I don't know. I'm gonna try to pull this up here. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but I'm just gonna. I don't know if I've got sound on it or not, but I'm gonna try to display this and let everybody see what I'm talking about.
What'd y'all do? Interview some people over there?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can hear that or not.
Look at the people there.
That's a small line.
That's early.
A wide variety of different foods, canned goods, box foods. A lot of people here depend on this. Recently, the Kentucky Outdoor Foods have brought in a house bill 367 that could put jeopardy.
Did you have a drone?
Not only this food bank,
Did you have a
but
drone?
also other
Yeah.
food banks in the state of Kentucky. That bill would basically eliminate SNAP benefits for most Kentuckians.
I'm happy to announce that bill did not pass.
A certain amount of money in the banking accounts or different assets where they would receive money.
No, that's a small line compared to what ours used
Where's
to
that
be.
at? Is that over by the fire department over on?
Yeah, it's right there, right next to it.
And that would allow the food banks to be overran more than they already are. And then as you can see, guys, I mean, you have the tractors here. Here's Frito-Lay, just different types of stuff. Pantry here that Hazel Green does bring you. I mean, you have different types of goods, different types of everything. And a lot of people depend on these meals. We are here with Tammy from EKCC and going to get her input on what she thinks the benefits of this project really is.
It's a good benefit for everybody in the state. It feeds a lot of people, a lot of families. It's a very good benefits. They have food and accessories and other things for people. It is a very good need and cause.
I'm here with Joyce Witt, and she's a volunteer here in the pantry, and we're going to get her input on the importance of this project.
We serve a lot of counties. Everybody is in need. I started volunteering here for Murphy Chestnut a little over a year ago. And line, they Hazel Green Food Project has made such a difference in people's lives.
See, you're first in line here. How long you say you've been here this morning?
A couple hours.
Been here a couple of hours. Say the pantry benefits you.
Helped with the food line because they raised the price of everything in the store.
Right. So what? Right. So what you're saying is, this is something that needs to remain and continue to be a benefit for everybody, in the county and the surrounding area.
It's been rough for everybody.
All right, Henry. So what does the importance mean to you for the project here?
Well, I volunteered, and they also helped. Without it, I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't eat that often. I think on today.
So I mean, as you can see there, guys. I mean, and then this last couple minutes is me, interviewing Nikki. But you could go over to YouTube and find this whole interview over there. But I mean, and that's just a few of the people that we had actually talked to over there. It just goes to show you the impact that the current environment, the current ways of the land, I guess you could say right now, is having on just regular people, here in Appalachia and probably more than likely all over. And, we're talking about a big time increase on minimum wage we talked about earlier. And, that bill there was actually going to take SNAP benefits away from people that had a certain amount of money in their banking account. SNAP benefits would be removed. And then that's what we were doing over there. Basically saying is, you take SNAP benefits away from people that's already relying on it, but a lot of people, that are even working have to rely on this as well. And, so you take SNAP benefits away from people, those lines at these food banks are going to triple. Down here, at Christ Pantry in town, over there, at Hazel Green. I mean, they asked me to come over there and do an interview with them and, try to get it out there. But I think it was like the next week, maybe they went to Frankfurt on that, and that bill didn't pass. So that was wonderful. That keeps the pantries and stuff going, and they're not going to be totally overran. I know sometimes they do run out of food because there's so many people, but there's just a big impact on what's going on in the economy right now with this country. And basically, without a certain train coming through town starting from November on, we may be in for a long, long wild ride if that doesn't happen. I think it's November 5th, if a certain train don't come through. So
Keeps it up, we're all gonna be in that line.
yeah, we'll be doing interviews. We'll be doing the show from over there.
Well, let me say this. I think that type of video needs to be shown at a national level, because you're talking about a small county of Morgan, Wolfe, Breathitt, McGoffin. It serves a multitude of counties. And there may be people coming from other places that I'm not 100% sure of. But that in itself, just to get there with the price of gas, that's an added cost. So you think about it, it's sad that our country spends a lot of money to be. Give you an example. We spent $297 million to be a member of the World Health Organization. We fit the bill, Mike, for a lot of these countries that don't pay anything. All right, be a member of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. I don't know if you all saw this or not, but Secretary of State Anton Blinken announced that Ukraine was going to be officially admitted as a member of NATO. Bad, bad, bad. I'm going to tell you why. Because their motto is, an attack on one is an attack on all, which means the United States is going to get pulled into a war with Russia. It seems like they want war with Russia. I don't know why you would want war with Russia. Okay. Well, the thing is, though, you talk about during the Trump administration, 4 years, we went without a war. Without a war. As soon as Biden is inaugurated on January the 20th, 2021, it is announced that we are undertaking military operations against Syria. Over in the Middle East, it starts up again. There was peace over there with the Abraham Accords. And now all of a sudden, we're back at it again. We got to stick our nose in these other places. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have economic and political ties. And geopolitics doesn't play an important part in the world. It does. But when you've got people like you saw in that video that are struggling
And
to
that's
make
just a
ends
few of the
meet
people that we talked to.
and
Yeah.
can't get ahead and has to have help, and our government is helping all these other people, it's extremely sad.
Matthew,
And it
just
breaks your heart.
just to tell you how needed it is. That little woman that he interviewed there at the beginning was in that line at 5:30 a.m. They don't start give out till 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. She was there at 5:30 a.m. to make sure she got food.
Yeah,
Now tell
she
me
was
that that's not
she was the
someone
number one, like
who has
very
to be
first in line. And number two, which that guy said he would talk to us, but he didn't want to talk on camera, which was fine. Then number three in line, number four, every one of them had been there around between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. And and this don't start to, what'd you say, 12, 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock was
So they've been sitting there. We went by was it last Friday or Friday before last? We went by there, the last time they had one. The line was stretched way down past 205 store, but the very first car, I don't remember if it was the same little lady or not, but had curtains or something up over the window where she could sleep in there until it started. So people are coming there basically and, sleeping in their cars for hours and hours just to be able to get food. And this is America.
And my heart wants to say that, and I know that it's the case with there's people that are always in economic need, always. And I'm not saying that when Trump was in office there weren't people that needed stuff. There was. Our government should make it their number one priority to take care of the American citizens. There's not a reason that every person in this country shouldn't have adequate housing, shouldn't have food on their table, shouldn't have employment, shouldn't have wages that allow them to pay their bills and get by.
Well, we
outsource a lot of jobs around the world, and we don't need to. We have the ability in this country, man.
Well, we'll tell you what the little lady also told us. I mean, it gets worse. You just see a brief, what she was talking about, but she told us, wasn't it $40? $42.
They approved her for.
They approved her for $42 in SNAP, which is basically milk, bread, maybe a pack of hamburger meat or something. Not a lot for $42, but she would have to give them the title to her home, the deed. The deed. She would have to give them the deed to her home and the title to her car for them to put liens on it for her to get $42.
So I asked someone about this because I'm like, I've never heard that.
Me too. I went and talked about it too.
They said that they do that because they're after a certain age, if they apply for benefits, so the government can then receive those items. I guess and kind of pay that. Even though she was on Social Security, she's on fixed income. She said she just can't make it on what she's getting paid.
I spoke to someone after that too, and they said that they actually had to give the lien, put a lien on their house. Is that what it was? Mm-hmm. So and get a small amount. I'm thinking it's not worth $42, and that's what she said. It's not worth possibly losing my home for $42 because $42, hell, a case of water right now, $10 for 3 of them. So I mean, there's half of it already.
As an American taxpayer, I would prefer to help that woman who has paid her due, but unfortunately, everything's went up so high that her fixed income, what she's receiving, is not enough. Rather than send it overseas.
When I left there that day, me and her got in the car.
It was heartbreaking. And
we drove down past it, and then we come back up, 205 toward West Liberty this way. And I don't think neither one of us spoke a word for the first few minutes. And then we got about to where you turn up 844, 705 down there. And I told her, I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, after everything that we just went through, I want to pull off on the side of the road and just cry. I mean, it broke my heart. And that's just a few of the people, like I said, we talked to and, got to see some of the things going on over there. And then find out that our local state representative voted yes on the bill, to pass the bill, to put that bill against them. So, that's why I'm in the interview with Nikki there at the end, and I'm pushing, like, call your state reps, call anybody you can call at this point, or, legislator or whatever they
I
call
would
them.
encourage everybody to watch the video because his interview with Nikki, who helped start this over there, and there are no question asked pantry. There are no question asked.
No,
You don't have to give them your income. You get in line. You set in line. When you come through, you get.
I think
there's
they
no-
ask your name and how many's in your
and your
household, and
address.
that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
And
They don't turn nobody away, no matter
she
where
said
you
when
come
she
from.
started, she had a vision that she was going to help whoever needed it. It wasn't her job to decide whether to judge people whether they needed it or they didn't. And I've heard people make comments. Well, they're driving a nice vehicle. Why are they in that line? Well, maybe they lost their job. Maybe they already got bound by a vehicle payment, and they weren't expecting that groceries were going to go. You usually, even if you work and you're middle class, sometimes your paycheck is budgeted out with your expenses. You don't anticipate a 19% inflation increase. So again, I think that it's a wonderful program. They don't ask any questions. If somebody needs it, they go over there and need it. But she talks about the different cases and people that they've helped. And
Yeah, I only showed a little bit of the video. Like I said, I think it's probably about another 5 minutes or so of me and Nikki, talking and her basically explaining what the program does and different types of funding and stuff that they get. So I mean,
her
it's
husband does some stuff with Homes for Humanity. So
right.
it's,
She went through and told some stories
And-
about that too. But I mean,
and if
it's a heartbreaking
It is.
thing.
You see
to
this
sit that.
you see this in a rural community. Imagine in an urban area where the standard of living is even higher, like New York City. I can't fathom to think how someone could afford $4,000 for a 3-bedroom apartment. That is roughly, you think about that, $4,000, 10 months. You've just spent. I want to say, was it $40,000 on housing? Is that right? And then it's about $48,000, right at $48,000 for housing only. Just housing. That ain't talking about food. I don't see how people are making.
I don't know how they do it in the city either, because I think about I know people see him walking around and stuff like that around town here. We have one that walks around, but I see people feeding him. I fed him. There's been people I see him let him come in and eat. I saw the Cozy Cup. He went down there and he came in and he ate, and people are helping take care of him. But in the city, you imagine there's so many.
Oh,
They can't
go to Ashland right now, and in certain parts of Ashland, there are an enormous amount of people that are homeless, and okay, you think about it. You're not getting adequate nutrients. You don't have a comfortable place to sleep, a shelter. It's extremely sad. And to think some of those people are veterans. Some of those people fought for this country to have the freedom.
Yeah, that's what kills me the most is when you see homeless veterans laying on a street or on an old couch in a dump alleyway somewhere, begging for change every day. And then we've got a government, I guess you can call them, or administrator, whatever you want to call them, that's sending trillions of dollars to everywhere you can possibly think of across seas, Ukraine especially. And then I don't know if we're still. Then you've got the leaders of Ukraine floating around in these yachts and living in these billion-dollar homes and everything.
They're giving illegal immigrants and they're putting them up in hotels.
53. What was it? A $53 million program started in New York by the mayor that allows them to get so much money. I think it's right around $1,400 a month on a prepaid credit card. Give that prepaid credit card to Americans that are here that need that. I guarantee
Especially the ones who have fought for our country and sacrifice, and their family sacrifice. They pay the ultimate price for our freedoms and stuff, but yet we just allow them to live on the street in filth and stuff while we're opening up things for people who are coming across the border who have not legally entered this country. I mean, do you know the refugees? People are like, oh, Deborah, have a heart. Those are refugees. Do we know the refugees? They don't look like
it's
refugees.
not. Listen, it's not that you don't have heartfelt sympathy for anybody. It's not that. Okay, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the state of Washington misappropriated. I want to say it was 300. And look this up if you don't care. I think it was $370 million of COVID funds that were given out to illegal aliens. 307 state. Yeah, Washington State. And I may be wrong on the money amount. So that's why.
Washington State misappropriated.
Yeah, misappropriated COVID funds and gave out to illegal aliens. COVID funds that you got people here lost their jobs. They cut back on businesses.
Well, listen here. Brienne says they kicked residents out from hotels in California a few months ago who had survived floods in their area and lost everything for illegal immigrants. So you lose your home. Let's use Eastern Kentucky here a couple of years ago for an example. You lose everything you've got in a flood. So FEMA or whoever it is put you up in a hotel that you're having to stay in because you don't got nothing else. Illegals come in, they kick you out of the hotel and put the illegals in. So now you're just standing out on the roadside with your thumb in the air trying to get someone to take you somewhere.
So
It's
here it is.
this country is ignorant. But
New York Post, a new report is highlighting how federal COVID funds were used in Washington State to give $1,000 checks to illegal immigrants who were ineligible to receive federal economic impact payments during the pandemic due to the immigration status. And it's like 340 million.
Okay, I was wrong. I was wrong on the money.
340 million.
Well, that's pretty close. I
Federal
said
government.
370. It's 340. Okay.
340 million.
But that $340 million could be well served.
They don't pay.
We have
taxes,
339 million people in this country. 339 million. You're talking about $340 million that was misappropriated by one state. Give everybody $1 million and let them fend for themselves.
I vote Matthew for president.
I,
I'm good with that.
I wouldn't want to be president. I wouldn't
Give us
want to
$1
be the
million.
president. Well, I mean, okay. Think about it. We're giving $100 billion.
you're just like
To
the left.
Ukraine.
You want everything given to you. Everything given to you.
I paid in.
If he gives you $1 million, do you think somebody don't have to pay that back to you? So
I'd rather it be us than Ukraine.
Well, hold up. It's taxpayers' dollars that's going to these
Yeah.
foreign nations.
well,
Why
yeah.
should it not go to our own people?
Hell, at least if you give it to the American people is going to spend it in America back into the economy.
It generates more taxes. Hello, but you send it to Ukraine, you're not generating any revenue.
We have made her genius over just instantly. So
You have made me super paranoid, and I need like a whole bottle.
she was telling someone yesterday. I'm gonna tell one on her. She was telling people in here yesterday in the store that like 3 or 4 years ago, when she first started, just before she ever came into the picture like this, she first started listening to me and you talk, that we freaked her out so much
I thought he was crazy.
that we were crazy until she started researching a lot of the things that we tell people to research. And then she thought, maybe they ain't so crazy. Then she started showing up, and now I'm
I thought
screwed.
you guys were crazy. I thought Jim Foster was probably the craziest one of everybody.
Well, I mean, it's possible. But we still like him, and we still get along good with him. So.
I mean, after you research and stuff, y'all kind of make sense.
We got a fan.
Hey, we made 75 cents one night on someone gave us a star or whatever the heck that means. And it was 75 cents. I don't even know what that even means.
Melina brought me there the first time. I thought, what in the world did she bring me to? What am I listening to here? I thought we were friends.
I grabbed your audio.
Now we're super paranoid. Now I keep 15 cases of water. And
Oh, that's no joke.
food. That's
Right.
That's no joke.
Ask him. You walk in my room. It's like stacked.
You go out
It
there
never-
right now and open the trunk of the
Hold
car.
up.
Well, she don't have her car here.
It's probably better off that you do that because you're probably going to buy it at a cheaper price right now and stock up and save than you will 2 months down the road. You're saving yourself money by doing that.
And canned food.
That's what I'm
If
saying.
you're a water hoarder right now, Kroger's got it on sale. What, 4 for $10 or something? Kroger water. So you may want to be definitely before Monday. You might want to be taking that.
Yeah, seeing as they're telling us to
But like you said there, you came to the program and you listened to it for face value, and then you took it upon yourself to not listen to a media source and tell you how to believe. You've decided for yourself that you're going to do your own research, that you don't need somebody else to tell you what is right
I
and
will
what
be
is wrong.
honest with you. I was a faithful Fox News watcher when I first came to watch your all show.
Now, I want to say something. I want to intervene. Ask me what news program I watched.
I'd say
None of them. I've never watched
so
any
that's
of them.
where I'm going with this.
And it's not that at that time I discredited them and I
Right.
didn't believe they were not telling me the truth. I just didn't watch the news because for me, I think the news is very, very depressing because every time you turn
That's
it on,
even your local news.
I mean,
all of it,
because
yeah.
it's always somebody has been somebody's in a horrific car accident, an ATV accident, somebody shot somebody. It's always negative, negative, negative. A war-torn society. Somebody's bombed somebody. Somebody's died innocently, and I'm just like, I don't want to feed into that.
It's still monitored and things are redacted, or they're told. It don't matter if you watch CNN or Fox News; they're told what they can report and what they can't.
Well, I mean, look,
That's just the way it is.
you've had
Well,
Tucker,
all
Tucker,
the media
Tucker,
stations.
Tucker Carlson,
and I used to watch him.
and then there's a few other ones, even on
Sean
Fox
Hannity,
News,
Sean Hannity.
that they get removed from the air. Like Tucker, he was on one night and gone the next night.
Here's
So
the thing with Tucker is he was the most modern.
he was the
middle,
one, yeah.
Of all of them. Like Hannity and Laura Ingraham, very right wing, but Tucker didn't care to question right.
No, he
or
had
left.
his
He
own
was
show
very
on
modern.
Fox Nation where he'd go out and do all these interviews and
But
stuff and just tell it like it
The
was.
point being is, after I started watching you guys and I started looking into stuff and just trying to research other avenues other than Fox News and CNN and MSNBC and all this, you find out that some things are not reported accurately, or you're not given the whole truth.
Well, you talked last week about Congress or someone wanting to shut down TikTok, and
the House of Representatives introduced a bill to shut down TikTok. It passed the House. It has to go through the Senate in the same procedures that entered the House. All bills are the same.
But can we say China owns Snapchat? China owns Instagram. China owns TikTok. They're not shutting down.
Well,
I think they may have something in
Okay,
YouTube.
but what I'm going with this TikTok thing is, no matter how people feel about TikTok, I mean, there's a lot of silly things happen on there too. But the reason they want to shut TikTok down is because, like you said, you will see videos from the streets of Kyiv, Ukraine. You will see things going on in Russia, and that's like 5 to 7 days before anything ever hits the news here. Like, you've got, it's just regular people like us.
Tell you something happened, and you'll look and people
you were talking yesterday about something in Russia going on. It don't matter what mainstream media here in this nation you get on, you're not going to hear it. Maybe not now.
Okay, like Russia right now. Give you an example. Most people don't know this. Russia has undertaken a policy in their country right now where they are rounding up all illegals.
Partial draft.
They're doing all. They've rounded up all illegals, and they are doing what? They are deporting them. Why? They don't have legal jurisdiction to be in that country, and it jeopardizes the security of their nation. It jeopardizes the citizenry of their country, just like ours. We have an open door policy right now. That border is open. Who comes in? Americans probably are misled, and I don't mean this being mean. When I say this, we're misled because we hear incidents of maybe an Al Qaeda member is captured. Well, in the city of Denver, I want to say it was probably about a month ago. I want to say that in the city of Denver, they arrested, I want to say 15 to 20 Al Qaeda members. Okay, you know that if that's happening in the city of Denver, Colorado, it's happening everywhere. So, these people are being welcomed across the border. They're being given prepaid credit cards. They're being given cell phones as a tracking device. But Denver, Colorado, I want to say it was 15 Al Qaeda members were arrested. So you're not hearing how you're only getting a portion by the media of what it is actually like.
Like I said,
it's probably 15 to 100 times worse.
I've never been a fan of TikTok myself, but I mean, a lot of people use TikTok as like a source. Like I said, just regular people, just like us in Ukraine, Russia, China, and wherever. They'll post a video of them doing something or like something happening out and about. And they'll post it on TikTok, and everybody in the world can see it. The mainstream media, sometimes the bombings that's going on over there, you'll see some videos of that a week before you ever hear about it on the American news.
So if you watch the owner of TikTok in the congressional hearings and stuff, they question him heavily about why he wasn't censoring stuff. Their problem with him is that he's not censoring stuff. He's not censoring, and he's told them he didn't feel like it was his place to censor stuff. They control YouTube. They control Facebook. You guys know this because your show How many times has it been buffered?
I
mean, we
just
do
got
a
it back.
live
We wasn't
sell.
on last week. I couldn't stream on YouTube, but tonight we are.
We
But
do a live sell for Outback that's not anything political
she's got like
whatsoever.
10 different strikes against the account right
And
now.
we're censored. So you have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. They're able to censor all that stuff. TikTok's pretty much. I mean, any of us can make a video. So if there was a bomb that went off down here in the street and we make a video of it and we put it on TikTok, it's not being censored. But if you put it on Facebook,
And it's going to air on TikTok. I mean,
So on Facebook, they put they basically put. Am I right when I say this? Like I said, I don't use technology as much as you would think I would, but they have like a video and it's blacked out, and at the bottom of it, it'll say you could, if you click this to watch the video. Is that them censoring
unless
it?
they think it violates a guideline. So
if it violates something,
I'm a
it's
fact
automatically
checker,
removed or
like
something.
if you say something about the C, right? And if you went down here and someone said that the jab was, there were side effects to it and stuff like that, immediately Facebook would delete that. So would YouTube.
Well, YouTube actually gave me a
You'll
strike
get a strike. And you'll not be
last
able to
week, and
post
I got
anything
suspended for a week because of the Jim Foster episode from a little over a week
because
ago.
he mentioned the C.
Because he
and jab.
mentioned, getting it.
On TikTok, not going to get that.
But anyway, like she's talking about a bomb going off in town, she could go down here,
Video it,
even do a live stream, but whatever, have it uploaded hours before any news media is even going to air it. So that I think that's why, and she could be talking to people in the streets that say, "Hey, we saw
kind of like the bridge incident in Baltimore.
like Red Dawn."
People basically took videos of that, and it was, you had access to it long before the media.
Right.
So they can't control the output
Mm-hmm.
before it's put out there. It's already out there.
And
so then they have to be on defense.
I think that's the
explain
reason why they're trying to shut it down, is because you could use it as a source or a reporting a platform, before any mainstream media gets there. Yeah, if she went down there and the aliens invaded West Liberty, a spaceship crashes in Old Mill Park and aliens are running around West Liberty, and she's videoing this, but by the time they get a military in here or LEX 18 and CNN show up, there is no aliens. But she's got the video when it first happened, so they want to shut that stuff down because they don't want.
Kind of like the situation that happened in Miami, where at the Miami Mall, there were people that reported that there were strange instances.
Yeah.
And, okay, the media came back and reported that there was 3 or 4 young teens that got into a verbal disagreement and a fight, but yet they called out 300 police officers. They're not going to call 300 police officers out for a 3 or 4 person brawl. Now, me and you're there, as bad as dudes as we are, they probably called out everybody.
Yeah.
Right, so they're having to play cleanup after these incidents when probably in their mind they already had a story they were going to give, but because everyday modern citizens have phone capability of loading this stuff, they don't like that. They can't control it.
Miranda says, "I'll be down there interviewing the aliens with you, Deborah."
Come on,
Miranda. I'm not even gonna go there. I was gonna make a reference about the place up on the hill, but I'm not even. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
She knows I got her back.
I ever get fired up on the air again, I'll give them a hard time. But
it's not censored. We have First Amendment rights.
Well, I don't know. You can't shoot
You cannot
on there.
You cannot show that.
Because I posted one of Aiden years ago shooting his first squirrel, and he wouldn't even let me post it.
Well, you can't post you and your fiance skinning a deer either. They'll take that.
Yeah, so it's got some censorship. Let her,
but it's not as heavily.
But it ain't like Facebook.
If you go on your Facebook account and you look up some things like fact checkers or whatever, you'll go and see who's been. Like I've blocked. I can't even tell you how many people I've blocked that are fact checkers. If you go in and search and you put fact checker, who's been on your account, then you can block.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, and it's like a ton of them, and you can't get rid of those people. They just keep coming back.
You could delete 100 and 100 more will pop right back up.
Me and him once or twice a week on the Outback Messenger, we'll get this big long thing that we have violated some policy.
But it's like from Jorge, awfulest names you've ever seen, and I'm like,
it's some of his friends because we went on live, Hulk and Muhammad.
Oh my
and all
God!
these people come up on the
There
live
about
stream.
2 months ago, we was doing a live, and we had like 300 people pop up all of a sudden, but every one of them was like X's and O's, and I had Zeus and Muhammad's and some dude named Hulk and yeah. I mean, so every time one would pop up, I'd say, "What are you doing?" And I'd not holler at them.
I don't know if we can ship to you, but you can come hear us and stop inviting.
So we never did get visited by the Al Qaeda members.
God.
But yeah, I think that's a lot to do with the TikTok stuff. Is why they're wanting to shut it down, is because it could be used as a broadcasting platform. But then if they could get it shut down in some way or get it discredited to the point to where they could say, you could fake this,
But I think
do
they
a
made
filter on it or something where it could be fake.
I think they made it as a personal attack against China for what we would call security reasons, to give a basis for trying to get rid of it instead of actually giving the legitimized reason for why they're doing it.
Snapchat, the same deal.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, is Facebook not the same thing? I mean, Facebook probably.
Only they have Mark Zuckerberg, who they have him in their pocket for whatever reason.
Yeah,
he does what.
Well, I said the word shooting a gun a minute ago, shooting a squirrel. So I would imagine before the night's over, I'll get this big message sent to me that you. And what Facebook's doing to me usually with this show is like when I say something like that, they will silence that part of the episode.
Huh.
Instead of like deleting it, they'll go in and they'll just silence what I'm saying. Now YouTube, on the other hand, they just delete the flipping video and ban me or something. And if you get one, it's a week. If you get two, it's a month. And then I think if you get your third one, they delete your whole account. So,
wow.
And I've had two before with me and you. with me and you, I've had two, and I've actually had to quit broadcasting on YouTube for 60 days.
Have you seen this where FBI is going out to various people, and apparently this is what I'm saying, the difference between Facebook and TikTok. I don't think TikTok is notifying the FBI that certain people are making certain posts or following this algorithm. So Facebook supposedly is reporting to the FBI when people are making posts and stuff, and we've seen several videos where FBI has went out there, and generally it's 3 agents go out to these people, and they identify themselves as FBI, and say they want to talk to them about posts that they made. And 2 of the videos we saw, the people were like, "Are you going to arrest me? I mean, am I under arrest or what's going on?" And they're like, "No, we can't arrest you for it." And they're like, "Well, then I'm not going to discuss it with you."
Yeah, just get out of here.
Do I need to get an attorney? And they're like, "No, because you're not under arrest. But we would like to discuss your post that you've made."
They have like papers with them that shows like something, maybe some kind of post they made or something. I don't know.
And they're like, "As far as I know, the Constitution still stands, and I have freedom of speech." And they're like, "That's right, and that's why we're not arresting you." But they want to question them about it. I mean, this is occurring in all over across the United States, which is scary. But it's only one-sided. You can imagine which side it is.
So is it people just making posts on like different
stuff? I guess their opinions. Maybe they're talking about.
So it's probably a good thing that me and you don't post anything.
Yeah. Normally I don't really post anything. I mean, I might send it to you, but I guess they might be able to get that though through Messenger, because Messenger, would be like if you share a picture, which I mean, so far, but I told her on the way here tonight, I said, you know what? If we're doing these shows and stuff, if they want to come and talk to me, come on. I'll pull up a seat over here next to us, and you can sit here and explain to everybody why the hell you're even here. For one, because we're not on here talking about going and doing any catastrophic stuff to anybody or hurting anybody, nothing like that. We're not doing any of that stuff. We're on here just speaking the facts about stuff and what we believe is right. If we was on here and we were locked and loaded and saying, we're coming after you, stupid stuff like that. I mean, I can understand it, but I mean, for people just getting on here and saying, I don't like Biden. Well, we don't. Yeah, so while you're knocking on their door with what she's talking about is Kathy Griffith holding Trump's head up, with the blood coming off of her.
Yes.
And what happened to her? Nothing. But if it was the other way around,
it was an expression of art.
If somebody was holding up a Biden head or a George Floyd head or something, God almighty, well, your house would be raided, burnt to the ground.
6, why are they hunting? You can figure out who was in Washington, D.C. that day that insurrection, quotations there, because happened, and you can go find them and raid their house and arrest them and stuff. But yet, what about Antifa and them who destroyed
burnt
Seattle?
Cities? Well, they're still walking up to cop cars and kicking the windshields
I
out
saw a
of them.
video of that yesterday or something. Somebody was, I
So-
can't remember.
Taking
if that was-
bottles like what you got, putting like paper down in them with gasoline and throwing them on cop cars, setting them
How-
on fire, and they can't do nothing about
So
it.
how
I
are they
mean,
not able to zone in on those people and make arrests? I mean, apparently, if you were even in the square anywhere near Washington D.C. that day, thank God I was not. I did consider going, but I didn't go. But you're raiding people's houses. You're also searching their family members, anybody who has ties with you at an airport and stuff like that. You're violating all kinds of constitutional rights. But yet you can't find people who held cities hostages. They held government buildings hostage and stuff. You can't find those people. And
well, they're
arrest
blocking
them.
major highways. They get out and sit in the middle of the highways, big lines of them blocking big freeways and interstates.
Which Marjorie Taylor Greene has been on fire about. What's his name? The DOJ and the FBI guy. Ray is one of them. And,
Ray Epps.
And then
You're talking about Merrick
no,
Merrick
not Ray
Garland.
Epps. The head of them.
He is. He's the Attorney General, which
Okay.
is Merrick Garland.
Okay, and then Mayorkas.
He is the Department of Homeland
She
Security.
wants to bring impeachment up on him.
He's already been
Or he's
impeached. He's been impeached.
He actually
He's
went
had.
through it, didn't
He's
he?
actually had charges brought forth against him. Now it goes to the Senate for his trial and his proceedings to determine whether he is removed from office.
So
I want to say that. I want to say
that
that he is the first. And I may be wrong. He's the first member of the executive department, because there's 15 executive departments. The Department of Homeland Security was the most recent department created after 9/11. That he is the first executive leader, department leader, secretary of the Department of Homeland Security since 1870. He's the first since 1876 to be impeached.
Okay, so he's Homeland Security. So who's FBI?
Merrick Garland. He is the Attorney General. The 15 departments have a head called a secretary, except for the Department of Justice, which is the Attorney General, and that constitutes the FBI. And
She was nailing them both about things that they did not handle appropriately.
well, there's been impeachment inquiry. There's impeachment inquiry for Joe Biden. There's impeachment inquiry for Kamala Harris. There's impeachment inquiry for Merrick Garland. You can go on. Anton Blinken. Just about every one of these people have had some involvement in the disastrous
So are they
events.
still in their positions?
Yeah, because Senate has not removed them. It goes before the Senate. And the Senate has to have a vote, and a majority
and it has to be a majority before it can move on.
And right now, the Senate is 50-50, but the vice president has the right to be a tiebreaker, because that's their job. That's the only time the vice president votes, is in the event there's a tie.
No, we're on the air. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just it's messed up.
But I think a lot of times, like with Merrick Garland and Alejandro Mayorkas, a lot of people really don't know that, or they just look at it as not a main issue, with them not doing their job with regards to the border. You're not vetting these people, and you're not checking these people, and you're just allowing people to come in. Okay, question. You gonna allow me to come to your house, just walk in, give me money, give me food, give me residency, without doing any background check on me at all? And you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Okay. So at first you said, "Did I let you?" But then, okay. So no. If you're just a strange person up on the porch that I've never seen before in my life, no, you're probably not even going to step foot in the house. For one, I mean, you might be able to stand on the porch, and I can hand you a phone if you need to make a call, or if anything.
That's
else,
why. That's why Title 42, which was a policy by Trump, stated this: if you come across the border, you're vetted, you're checked before you get to enter this country, and there has to be a legal proceeding take place. You have to return to your country, and when that legal proceeding takes place, you're eligible to come back and undertake that. We haven't done that. We're allowing, right now, I want to say as many as 20 million people. I mean, the count the count is not. There's not a statistical number that can substantiate how many it is. We know that there is a minimum of 8 million people. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But
But
it's just keep on coming.
must be illegal. Yeah, I don't know. That's oh man. Yeah, I'll never forget seeing Deborah's post over the drunk man pulling in her driveway. I doubt that's a home you would want to mess with. No, definitely after I was in Moorhead, and she calls me and tells me that. I mean, I think I made it from Moorhead to Stacy Fork in record time. So much that when they left her driveway, they were at the end of Stacy Fork, turning on 191 when I passed them, and that's because I was going to get her. You know, I mean, that's. I don't know. You got anything else going on over there?
No, I just.
This is why we're calling it the American Nightmare, because we kind of flipped over to, telling the real stuff at the end about how everything's, like I showed the video and, we talked a little bit about all that.
Well, every American that saw that video
I
about
posted
that
video.
project
I posted that video
should-
here in the comments
should-
too if anybody wants to
should
watch
be
it.
concerned, should be alarmed, because I'm telling you, a lot of people are one paycheck away, Mike,
From being in that situation.
being in that situation. So, you shouldn't have sympathy. You have heartfelt sympathy for these people. You don't look down on them because
Well, like Deborah said, if this
it
$15
can happen to anybody.
this $15 minimum wage hike happens in the next few years or so, a lot of us, even a lot of us that's got jobs, will probably be sitting in one of them lines over there, because you'll have to be able to have extra food somehow or other.
So where does this? This may be a stupid question, but this Hazel Green project, where do they get the funding to bring in all this food? Is it donations? Is it? I mean, how do they get the food?
Yeah,
to
some of it's donated. That's why I wish Nikki was on there, because she'd be able to explain it, because I don't want to speak for her.
Well, same thing down here.
You
with
know, I
this
don't want to.
food pantry here in West Liberty. They give out a lot of food. I think it's 2 days a week. So I want to say it's Monday and Wednesdays. Am I correct when I say that?
I know
So-
it's Mondays for sure, but I
Okay,
don't know.
so if they do it 2 days a week, that's a lot of cost. A lot of
Brienne
cost.
says donations.
Donations. Okay.
Like I said, I wouldn't want to speak for them, not knowing for sure, but so I'd want them to answer. But that's why I figured donations. But I mean, they've got a lot. I don't need to go get nothing. I don't need to pull down my boot or anything. But
it's
10 o'clock at night, people in here.
it is sad, Mike. That video is alarming simply because we're all Americans. We all live in this country. We should all be provided for, especially elderly, veterans, people like that. They should never have to worry. And it's getting to the point where people can't economically afford to provide
Miranda
for
says
their families.
they work with a lot of different organizations. She has written about the project several times. So there's ways that they're getting donations through different organizations and stuff. But I know this most recent one they had, or maybe 2 weeks ago, they ran out of food.
Oh my goodness!
Can
you imagine being in line and that?
Well, the line, like I said, when we went to Lexington, maybe that day, Winchester, the line this was 9 o'clock in the morning. The line was backed up past 205 store, and still people, getting in it. And when we come back, there wasn't nobody. And normally, that goes all afternoon. They ran out of food that day. So I would imagine a lot of people in that line probably, were turned away in some form or fashion. They might have got something, a little bit of something, but it was. And it's only going to get worse. With the way things are going to continue to get.
That's why November is extremely important. People need to vote their conscience. I'm not telling people how to vote, but you need to ask yourself one question. Am I better off today than I was 4 years ago? If not, then you need to make sure that your vote is heard. That's what I would suggest people. I would suggest people go out and vote. Go out and vote mass number. in person.
Well, I told someone the other day, they said, I really don't like Trump or Biden. I said, you got a third candidate. I said, that Kennedy guy, I said, he's the
He is a
independent.
good, and you know what?
He's if it wasn't for Trump on the ballot, I probably would vote for him. Because
Well, a lot of people, Mike, think that he is kind of a conspiracy theorist in itself because
I like
he's
him.
come out and stated some things that the government might have been involved in the death of his uncle John F. Kennedy.
He's just speaking the facts.
But here's my thing. He's what we would call a moderate Democrat. He is a viable candidate. I think he has a lot of good ideas. I could very well see myself voting for him if I wasn't going to vote.
That's what I said.
Way.
If Donald Trump was not on that ballot, I would vote for him, independent or not. I would vote for him because, for one, he's a fellow conspiracy theorist. You got to stick with your boys.
You got to stick together.
You've got to stick with your boys there. But
I was going to tell you, you were talking about issues with, like, there was a big ruling. I don't know if people saw this or not. I'm trying to find it here about mail-in ballots in the state of Pennsylvania. Here it is. Mail-in ballots must have dates on envelopes. Pennsylvania Appeals Court rules. Pennsylvania Federal Appeals Court issued a ruling this past Wednesday stating that mail-in ballots lacking accurate handwritten dates on the outside of the envelopes will not be considered valid. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit ruled 2-1. The ruling expected to significantly affect this year's elections in the crucial battleground state, overturned a lower court's November decision, per Fox News. So, you're not just going to turn in one and ain't got nothing on the outside.
I think every one of those key states should be doing that, or those swing states, that like decided the last one, where there was a lot of fraudulent stuff being done or whatever. I think, to rule out anything like that happening, I believe everyone should be doing that.
But I didn't know if you were aware of that or not. I saw that this week and I thought it brings validity to the vote. You don't allow mail-in ballots to just be turned in empty-handed. I mean, if I got 3 mail-in ballots and I just turn them in and I don't put a date on them, you don't know when they're processed. You don't know anything, nor put a name on there. You need a name.
Yeah, I don't know. I think every state. Well, I mean, Kentucky, I think we've got a fairly decent.
And I saw something where somebody had done this as a practical joke, but it ended up being valid. That there were 5 rappers in America that were registered to the same address in the state of Texas to vote. 5 rappers. 50 Cent was one of them. I'm not sure. Look it up, see it. 5 rappers.
I don't know, but the last time I saw him, he looked like 75 Cent.
What are you trying to say?
He's at the Super Bowl there about 2 years ago. He looked like 75 Cent. Something other happened. He must be like the Dollar.
I'm trying to take that. How to take that?
About like the Dollar Tree. Have you seen where the Dollar Trees?
$1.25 tree.
Where they're going to raise their price. There are going to be prices of things in the store up to $7 now. So it's like, the day of going in and buying the dollar party plates, it is over, baby. You ain't going to buy the dollar party plates anymore. So
what do you mean he looked like 75 cents? Does that mean he gained weight?
Well, he gained weight. He aged.
Hey, it happens for the best of us, my friend. I can't help it. Hey, I ain't saying nothing about 50 Cent. I ain't saying nothing about that man. Not doing it.
Drake,
there you go.
Chris Brown, Trey Songz, and the game were all registered with the same home address in Texas.
75 cents.
75 cents.
Y'all, I'm so super paranoid, seriously. That poor fella right there.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and close it up because I have to know what just happened. We get a beat on the door. Deborah, you notice I paused this sort of. You know, so I paused the camera and I'm like, take your with you. She probably didn't. Next thing I know, she's in here talking to some dude, and we're over here, you know, live on the air talking to you guys. You know, she could have been brutally like Jason
Well, he
Voorhees
said
type
he
stuff.
needed to use the phone. This is how weird it was. He said he needed to use the phone because he had a flat tire outside, and he has a cell phone in his hand. And I
So
said,
where's Brienne? So Brienne, this is very similar to the situation you're talking about here with the drunk guys, where she just with nothing walks up to him. So here she is again.
I said, your
Could have had a
cell phone
tire
won't
iron
work.
in his.
I mean, I was super a poor guy. He probably thinking, what's wrong with her? But I was like, so your cell phone don't work? Because he said he needs to use my phone. So,
But anyway, like I said, when do you think we'll see you again, man?
You'll see me.
About
You'll
4th of July, maybe?
we gotta
Yeah.
survive the eclipse first.
Yeah, we got to survive the eclipse. If we survive the eclipse,
See you on the other side.
Tuesday night, live right here inside
Everything
this
will
excitement,
be-
you will see me in my pants over there.
I'm going to say everything will go back to normalcy at 3:42 p.m. Is that what it is? Somewhere around there.
So if anybody wants to see that
So I
site,
think most
tune in.
most people around here, it's around, what is it? Is it around like 3 o'clock, 3:07, 3:08, something around there?
I don't know. It's somewhere like that. I don't know.
3:10 is the maximum point in West Liberty. That's right.
3:10.
All right.
310.
Well, what's
25 is the end.
What's the schools doing over there?
We're going to school.
You're going to be in all day?
I think so.
I know.
But I don't know to the degree. Yeah, like I said, you know, some school systems are doing it different,
Yeah.
and like I said, I don't know
I thought he said 4 minutes.
the severity of it.
I can do Candle City math. That's more than.
I don't know.
According to my
Well, anyway, you'll see us again, you know, eventually. You know, we actually, when we went off the air last week, you know, we were talking about, I don't know nothing about that thing. You all need to research that. We're trying to get off the air here. Well, the people's already educated. They watch CNN. But, you know, we actually went off the air last week, and we actually scheduled a show for Thursday. And I'm like, hot dog, we're going to have one within 5 days. And then it got moved to tonight. So, I don't know. Maybe you'll see us next week. Maybe it'll be the week after. Maybe we'll be on the moon, you know, after Monday. So, yeah, live Tuesday night where you will see me in my lingerie. What are they called?
Lounge pants.
Lounge pants. Yeah, that's what
Women's
they're called.
lounge pants.
My women's pants that I got suckered into having to wear. So
How'd you
everybody,
get suckered in that?
He did it himself.
I did it myself. Basically trying to sell some of them. I said, if we could sell 5 pairs of these guys tonight, I'll wear a pair of these next week.
They went like hotcakes.
They went like hotcakes.
I was trying to get them to buy the 2XL so you'd have to squeeze into a medium.
Yeah. So I've got the 2XL
Well.
wear right now. But
It was so
if I had to squeeze into that medium, it might look like the Dwight Yoakam standing up here. You know, it might be a little miserable.
So
maybe.
you're saying that every step you take, we'll see your pulse?
Yeah. Well, you'll see a pulse, all right. I might do it anyway. You may be doing it anyway,
Oh, my
but
goodness.
so I don't know. I mean, I think we'll have a record viewership Tuesday night, sadly.
7 o'clock Tuesday night.
I will be online to
Outback
witnesses.
Garden.
I got to find a shirt to wear with it, so I haven't figured that part
He
out
comes
yet.
in the next day and he has his Katie set one of the Carhartt t-shirts on. He goes, do you think this will match those lounge pants? I don't think anyone cares whether it is.
I haven't tried them on yet, so I don't know how it's going to go. But anyway.
He's going to try to look good.
Oh, hell, y'all are killing me. I don't know. If I can make it through Monday and Tuesday, you know, we'll see you guys again pretty soon. We'll hopefully have all kinds of new stuff to talk about. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in tonight. Hopefully we didn't bore everybody to death tonight. You know, we just like bringing it to you the way that we know to bring it to you. And sometimes we're goofy, sometimes we're serious, sometimes we dance,
Right.
as you've seen before. So, you know, but anyway. Everybody have a good rest of the weekend, spring break. If this was your spring break, enjoy the eclipse, and hopefully we don't get bombed or anything. And we'll be back and normal to see me in my lounge pants or whatever she called them on Tuesday night. But until then, everybody take care, have a good night, and we'll see you soon. Good night, everyone.